going YouTubers for ladies and gentlemen. It's the Natural Born Thriller, and welcome everyone to Impact Wrestling Review, pertains to Impact Plus, presenting Impact Homecoming 2021. Now, I decided from now on, pertains to doing Impact Plus, I'm just going to do an audio recording review of this show instead. Um, and I'll show some images too, besides this still image pertains to the logo of Impact Wrestling Homecoming. But the show took place on July 31st, I should say, of 2021, on a Saturday, Nashville, Tennessee, at the Skyway Studios, under the promotion of Impact Wrestling. Now, the show was themed around some other things too. Well, actually, uh, I was gonna say the show wasn't just focusing on the tournament, pertains to crowning the first ever homecoming king and queen, but it's also circle around some other things happening on here as well. You know, so we'll get to those when we get to it. Pertains to it around the show. Your commentators were Matt Striker and D'Lo Brown. Uh, this was around July uh 18th to 19th of 2021, and then they aired it on July 31st. So basically, this happened beforehand, and they did a great job of keeping it a secret pertaining to who ends up being on the show, which we'll get to, and it shows all the loyal fans of Impact Wrestling as well. You know, so but nevertheless, let's get to what happened on the show here. The opening match was the first round match in the homecoming tournament, where it was Hernandez and Alicia Edwards with Johnny Swingers, excuse me, at ringside, as they went up against the Virtuosa, the Knockouts champion Diana Perrazzo, and her mystery partner, ends up being someone I didn't expect to be her partner. I thought it was going to be her boyfriend, Steve Macklin. So it wasn't Steve Macklin, but I'll get to him later too, by the way, folks. Which I expect him to be on, on the show where he to what he's going to do to this person, which I'll get to him when we get to it. I expected him to be on the show where it to him being teamed up with Diana Perrazzo. That way they would have been my pick either way to the during this whole tournament. Instead of Steve Macklin, it was basically at the intro of her Mr. opponent of Dion Prazos, the lights went out, and then the lights came back on in the ring, spotlight basically, and it's the former Aiden English. I remember of the whole video vignette promoting the Drama King. He is the Drama King. He was originally the Drama King back in WWE. Now WWE never trademarked the Drama King thing, which it was done on their part for not to do that because Aiden English here ends up I think he may have trademarked it, but we'll see if that end came out eventually. But he's got the nickname of the Drummer King, and obviously he's not going by the name of Eddie English because that's the WWE name. He's going by the name of his. I'm assuming that's his real name, by the way. Not Eddie English, by the way. I'm talking about his real name. Matthew uh Railroad. Yeah, so Matthew Railroad is his real name, and he's using that name pertains to him being the Drummer King. And yeah, he made his Impact Wrestling debut here, and I'm shocked. I can't believe he was there. I expected him, to be somewhere else, but I didn't expect him to be in Impact Wrestling. And I was telling myself after seeing this, I'm like, the pairing of the two, it does match because they're both about class, pertains to their characters. So, but I didn't know it was going to gel well together. But it ends up being gel well together between the two sides of Darren Ferrazzo and Matthew Railroad. Railroad, excuse me. But yeah, I'm surprised. But pertains to this, I expect them to win either way. The fact that they did win, they ended up advancing the second round of the tournament. Match lasted 7 minutes and 30 seconds, and it was good. It was a good match. Even on Alicia Edwards' side of this whole thing, it was a pretty good match. I enjoyed it for what it was. Then we get to the second round match. But actually, before we get to that, um, I guess I got to see that there was a segment that happened on here before we move on. So just give me one moment, folks. Also, I need to talk about what let's see. Did he cut a promo? Oh yeah, actually he did. He cut a promo. He says, he cut an entertaining, basically, he cuts an entertaining promo, before the match started, pertains to him being a pertains masterpiece that was held behind in the key, locked in key, and now he is going to be crowned. And yeah, that's basically it. That was the whole thing. Before we get to the next match, I'm trying to remember if there was any other stuff on the show. Before we get to the next match. Nope. Okay. Now we can move on to the next match. Continuing in the first round tournament of the homecoming tournament, Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green versus P.D. Williams, who's going by uh Little P.D. Pump, and you got Jordan Grace, who's going by Big Mama Pump. Basically, shout out to Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner. And so the match was 10 minutes and 22 seconds. It was good, and also with a little bit of entertainment as well, where it is to P.D. Williams and Jordan Grace paying homage to Scott Steiner, which is doing the Steiner recliner at one point, doing the pumping the muscles up and all that, and doing the elbow drop, and then doing the basically a fake pinfall to do push-ups and all that. So yeah, and also there was some entertainment in this match as well, but pertains to P. Williams because he's a small guy. He couldn't even buy Sam Matt Cardona. He couldn't even pick him up either way. So he had some help with Jordan Grace. And by the way, pertains to this match too. By the way, I didn't know it was also going to be an intergender rules type of match as well because that's what it ended up being. I, you know, uh, I didn't get to talk about that, but that's from the first round of the tournament match with Gian Perazzo, Matthew Rayrock, and going up against Alicia Edwards and Hernandez was that's that explosion there. Now I don't remember if they actually mentioned on the show before, before we got to the show here, but after seeing that, I'm like, oh yeah, I like it too. But I digress. In the end, though, it was Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green going over to advance to the second round of the tournament. After the match, P.D. Williams gets attacked by Steve Macklin. Steve Macklin basically just destroys P.D. Williams and it leaves him laying. And that was it. And like, why did he attack P.D. Williams? What was his reason to attack P.D. Williams? We'll get to that when we get to it. Once we get to it. But before we do, I gotta see if anything else happened on here before I move on to the next match. Oh yeah. So what happened next was W. Morrissey cuts a promo about Eddie Edwards backstage, says that the reason Eddie Edwards wants him in a no DQ match is because he knows he can't beat him in a wrestling match. And that was basically it. So, and we'll get to that main event match, by the way. That ends up being the main event match between Eddie Edwards and W. Morrissey. Then we get to the next round, the next first round of the tournament, the homecoming tournament. It was Tom Dreamer and Richard Ellering dressing up as the Road Warriors. Basically, Tom Dreamer as Animal and Rachel Ellering as Hawk. And they went up against Brian Myers, being accompanied by Sam Beal. And the story here was that, and I'm pretty sure you've seen my reviews of Impact Wrestling already, which takes the whole thing, but it was the whole thing where he's a woman as his partner pertains to this whole homecoming tournament. Tina Dashwood turned him down. Bila McGillicuddy, the wife of Tom Dreamer, turned him down, and he asked for Francine, who he's good friends with, and she turned him down because she felt insulted that she went that she was their pick and not the first pick. Pertains to Brian Myers you know pertains to them being friends and all that, and she should have been number one instead of being number three. And pertains to also being second choice too and all. because I think that was also a suggestion was it was gonna be a second choice, but then it ends up being Bela McGillicuddy ends up being the second choice. So she obviously turned him down. So Sam Beal surprised Brian Myers by bringing in Missy Hyatt. Keep in mind, Missy Hyatt, who's not even a wrestler. She was best known just for being a manager, and they had Missy Hyatt out there, and she basically says, she's not a wrestler and all that, right, and all that. But they forced her to be in, her in, in the match, and I'm like, and then the match happened, and it was garbage. 5 minutes and 22 seconds it lasted, and obviously Missy Hyatt never wrestled because, for one thing, again, she's not a wrestler. So what was the point of bringing her in the first place? Well, we'll get to what happened later on. But in the end, it was Road Warriors tribute team of Tommy Dreamer and Reggie Ellering getting the win on Brian Myers and Missy Hyatt to advance to the second round tournament. This match was garbage, terrible, terrible booking, and it was always a spot for the tournament. Next, before we get to the next match, let me see if there's anything else happening here. Oh yeah, Fine by Design. Eric Young comes a promo where it's Fine by Design, saying that basically a promo about failure. Asks the troops what they have learned about failure. Diener says failure gives him the opportunity to redemption. Eric Young says that is really good in this. It's really good, basically to Diener, and says um other things too, where it is to failure, and also not much to say about that. So that was a good promo though, very good promo. And we get to the final first round tournament, comes to a closure here, till we get to the second round tournament of DK, Crazy Steve and Rosemary versus Falaba and Tasha Steels, or the team that called themselves Fa and Flava. 9 minutes and 14 seconds it lasted. It was better than the match that Tommy Dreamer, Rich Ellering had with Brian Myers and Missy Hyatt. I'll say that. And may I just say this, by the way, Missy Hyatt, she looks good. She still looks good. So I'll give her that. But yeah, this match was had some entertainment, but also had some good wrestling as well. And in the end, because Falaba had a miscommunication there, squashing Sasha Steels in the corner, like literally squashed her. Um, it got Decay the win here, where Decay Chris Steve getting the win over on Falaba with the uh diving DDT. And there you go. And then not much to say. And that will conclude your first round tournament of the Homecoming King and Queen tournament. Before we move on, let's see what happens next. By the way, the WDT that Chris D calls his official move is the King Kill 33. So we get to Steve Macklin. He cuts a promo about Pete Williams and why he attacked him. He says basically why not? And then it says something about Pete Williams keeps sticking his nose in his business. And I say to myself, huh? Now unless I missed something on before the Impact stuff, which I don't care if to watch either way, but because that's what Steve Macklin has been wrestling on every time. So I'm assuming that's what he's talking about from there. But basically saying keeping keeping his nose and his keep on sticking his nose in his business, and thought that he had crosshair I mean crosshairs crosshairs set on the X Division title. So he moves them over to Pity now, and that's basically it. So yeah, that's gonna be the program. Pete Williams and Steve Macklin. I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be even on Impact Wrestling. Or to the shows. It's probably gonna be on before the Impact. But I digress. Willie Mack being accompanied by Rich Swan. Going up against Diener being accompanied by Combat Designs Eric Young, Joe Doring, and Rhino. Match lasted 9 minutes and 42 seconds. And the match I thought was good. Fans were chanting, this is awesome. And they had D'Lo Brown and Matt Striker on commentary saying this is a show stealer. Now the match was good between Diener and Willie Mack, but to say it was a show stealer, Nah, wouldn't go that far. In the end, it was Diener getting the win. Obviously, because outside interferences, referee being, distracted from His back and all. But I was not expecting Diener to win the match here, and he did. So props to him. I never thought I'd get behind Diener now. I never thought I'd get behind Diener in Fine by Design. I guess it had to take a long time, a little while for me to finally get, to get used to him, and also get to finally get behind him. He's doing a better job. I mean, he's doing a better job of me caring about him more than uh the Susan character. And on top of that, with No Way Jose being there, it makes me want to look at Dieter more seriously now, because now you got someone like a joke, or who can't wrestle for shit, and No Way Jose on Impact Wrestling. At least I give Dieter this. At least he's you know has passion with his craft in wrestling. Unlike No Way Jose, or all he cares about is the Congo lines and dancing. So I'll just say that. Before we move on to what happened next, which is the next match. I gotta see what happened after the match. In case if there was anything. Oh yeah, we see Matt Cardona and Jesse Green being talked, being interviewed backstage by Gene Miller, related to their match, and they talk about how they're being undefeated as a team and all that, and they're going to continue that streak. And we get to this next match, which is the semifinals of the homecoming tournament. Deanna Perrazzo and Matthew or Red Rope. Excuse me, sorry. Already forgetting his last name. Matthew Red Rope went up against Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green. And the match lasted 9 minutes and 33 seconds. I mean, 9 minutes and 34 seconds. It lasted. And we got a reunion between Deanna Perrazzo and Chelsea Green, because they used to be tag team partners back in the NXT household days. And I can't say NXT days because they never showed them together as a tag team, or even debuted them as a tag team on NXT. When they had the chance to do it, instead of wasting their times debuting them on house shows instead. So it was a great reunion there between Chelsea Green and Deanna Purrazzo, who they used to be tag team partners, and now here they are as you know from opposite sides of one another, instead of being on the same corner, on the same side. Match itself was good. It was a very good match, and in the end, Matthew or Red Rope and Deanna Purrazzo advances, and which it shocked me again here. Like, oh, okay, so they're having them going to the end of the tournament, the finals. I thought Macadona and Chelsea Green was going to win this match here, because the whole thing with their undefeated and all that as a team, and I'm like, well, they spoke too soon. After that, they jinxed it. So, because they were my pick to win at this point, for this tournament, but they decided to go. They decided, not to have them win instead. um, so there you go. But it was, good match though, good match. Before we move on, let's see if anything else happened after the match. Oh yeah, Brian Myers. He interrupts Missy Hyde being interviewed by Gene Miller. Um, so Brian Myers is complaining to Missy Hyde backstage about how could she, I meant to say, excuse me, uh, you know, left him high and dry like that. And then she says, I am not a wrestler, I'm a manager, and it says that that they all had one thing that Brian Myers doesn't have, that's originality. And then all of a sudden, Brian Myers blames Shambio, it's your fault, and then he leaves. And then Missy Hyatt was, saying to Shambio, this is hit on him and all that, you need to kind of cute and all that, and then telling him to close his eyes, because she could give him a kiss. Instead, she tricked him and slapped him and calls him a stupid mark, which was hilarious. So there you go. Next, we get to DK, Crazy Steve and Rosemary of the semifinals of the Homecoming tournament, going up against Road Warrior Dreamer and Road Warrior Rachel. And 10 minutes and 11, I mean 10 minutes and 59 seconds have lasted. Match itself, it was decent. In the end, it was Decay getting the win over on the Road Warrior, tribute team. So, so there you go. Not much to say about the match. It was a decent match. So before we move on to what happened next, I gotta see if anything else happened. Okay, Eddie Edwards was backstage, corner promo, talking trash about W. Morrissey and his broken image. Says that the difference between them is that Morrissey came here to fix his image, while Eddie Edwards home where he always been, where he always belonged, is always wanted to be. And basically, Richard Edwards walks in, hands Eddie Edwards the candlestick, Kenny, and says, "Yo, end this." There you go. So whatever, Kenny. Then we get to Josh Alexander, the walk-in weapon, defends his Impact Exhibition Championship against Black Taurus of Decay, being accompanied by Havoc. 60 minutes and 8 minutes has lasted. I mean, 16 minutes and 8 seconds, I meant to say lasted, excuse me. Uh, Josh Alexander and Black Taurus, holy shit, they had a great match. In fact, this match was more of a show stealer than Diener versus Willie Mack. Not trying to say that match was not good. That was still a good match between Willie Mack and Diener. But this match, stepped up a notch. So yeah, Josh Alexander and Black Taurus, especially Black Taurus, man, he already showed his athletics system in this match and show what he can do in the ring, and it was amazing. And Josh Alexander, he's always been amazing. In the end, obviously, there was no way he's going to lose the belt here because Josh Alexander is the one's getting pushed, not Black Taurus. But Black Taurus looked good in this match too, making Josh Alexander look good in the process of his defeat. So yeah, it was a great match, and this was a real show stealer match. So Josh Alexander retains as he should. So let me see if anything else happened before we move on. And by the way, so Josh Alexander hits him with the C4 spike, the the J driller. Basically the double underhook, you know power driver, sit out power driver. Let me see anything else happen here. Nope. Okay. Now we get to the finals of the Homecoming King and Queen tournament between the Drama King, Matthew Raywrote, and the Virtuoso, Diana Perazzo versus Decay, Crazy Steve, and Rosemary. And this match was pretty good. In the end, after 11 minutes and 15 seconds it lasted, your winners and the first ever Homecoming King and Queen of this whole Homecoming King and Queen tournament for Impact Homecoming 2021, the Drama King. Get it? The Drama King. That right there was a huge hint there that what they were doing this whole time, or what they did all along. But the Drama King, Matthew Raywrote, and the Virtuoso, who's also the queen in Impact Wrestling, because she has the belt to prove it too, Knockouts champion, Diana Perazzo. So yes, the Homecoming King and Queen is Matthew Raywrote and Diana Perazzo, as Gina Miller, gives them the crowning, what's it called, reception, coronation. Oh yeah, the crowning coronation for both Matthew Raywrote and Diana Perazzo. So yeah, they are the Homecoming King and Queen of Impact Wrestling 2021, and I loved it. I think they they want to do some prestige of this whole tournament. They basically their own versions of King of the Ring, which that'd be great if they continue to do this once a year. So I'm all for this. I'm definitely all for this. Hopefully the this is obviously it should be some type of prestige of it after who won the match, of Matthew Raywrote and Deanna Perazzo, especially on Deanna Perazzo's part. Nothing against Matthew Raywrote. He's good. He is good. Um, so hopefully there is some prestige from both sides of these two. So there you go. Now before we move on what happened next? Um, I gotta see anything else happened here. Okay, no, no. Let me get to the main event. The main event was Eddie Edwards versus W. Morrissey in the hardcore match, and the match lasted, let's see, 18 minutes and 34 seconds. The main event, and yeah, obviously you had trash can lids. I think you had a steel chair involved too. You had a ladder involved. You had tables. You had a chain that was barely used in the match. You had candlesticks, obviously, Kenny, whoever. Um, I think the chain was used at one point. I can't remember if it was or not, but yeah, all these type of and basically they also did like a recreating of what did happen at Bound for Glory. I mean not Bound for Glory, at Scammiversary, excuse me. Where it pertains to the move Don Morrissey was gonna try to do a pop bomb to Eddie Edwards on the stage, but then reverses to a backdrop. It was like similar to what happened from there. And they tried to do something similar from there, basically the same spots that they did, which was very creative. They did that in this new event of Homecoming. Well, yeah, I won't say new because they haven't done one since 2019, which is understandable too because unfortunately the whole pandemic thing. So, but nevertheless, in the end, um, so also a nasty candlestick shot to the head to Dobby Morrissey by Eddie Edwards, which I'm assuming that led to um him getting a concussion because by looks of it, he looked like he was rocked and looked like he had no idea where he was at. Um, but there was some six spots in the match too. Before we get to the finish though, if I recall, there was like a power bomb that A. Edwards was put through through a ladder, which it was a real ladder by the way. I thought it was gonna be one of those prop ladders, but ends up being a real ladder. Or I think it was a choke slam. If I recall, it was a choke slam on the ladder. Um, also has two chests involved too. By the way, I forgot to mention that. Tommy Morrissey was put to a table by Eddie Edwards in the ring, and then a table that's outside the ring for Eddie Edwards to go do it by W Morrissey. Uh, and then now let's get to the finish. The finish, was Eddie Edwards after he hit him with the candlestick in the head. It was a nasty spot there. Then Eddie Edwards gets a chain. Yeah, so at this point, yeah, remember I said it was barely Muse. So yeah, basically in the end, it was Muse. Where Eddie Edwards wrapped around his knee to go for the Boston knee party, but he barely hit the Boston knee party. Looks like shit, by the way. But I can understand why he didn't really um you know you know really lay it in because I think Morrissey was badly injured. I don't know how bad the injury is. I haven't heard anything about it, but by the looks of it, I think he was injured badly in that match. And in the end, Eddie Edwards got the win. I expect I kind of knew Eddie Edwards was going to win here. This is basically Eddie Edwards getting his win back after Summerversary, or should I say Scammiversary, especially how that match ended up happening. So it's whatever. But yeah, there you go, folks. That will conclude your Impact Wrestling Homecoming 2021. That was on Impact Plus. A review of it from July 31st, 2021. And there you go. And now I'm about to get to my Homecoming 2021 highlights before we get to my overall showing of the show. So, Swerve of the Night for me, um, I think it will have to be Diener getting the win over on Willie Mack in the match because I wasn't expecting him to win. So I'm gonna go with that one. Yeah, as the Swerve of the Night. In fact, no, I'm not gonna go with that. The Swerve of the Night for me will have to be Missy Hyatt being the mystery opponent. That Sam Beal picked for Brian Myers because he was having issues of finding partners for the whole Homecoming King and Queen tournament. So I'm gonna go with that instead. Missy Hyatt. Shock of the Night will have to be Matthew Railroad being the mystery partner for Jan Ferrazzo, which was a great pick too because at the end of the day, they ended up winning the entire tournament. Moment of the night for me. Moment of the night. Let's see. The moment of the night for me will have to be Jan Ferrazzo and Matthew Railroad winning the whole tournament. It tends to them being the king and queen homecoming for Impact Wrestling. So, and I did like that too. So, promo of the night, I'm gonna go with Eric Young, which pertains to Vibe by Design. So it pertains to the whole, the failure promo. What is failure? You know. Video promo of the night, I'm gonna have to go with. I'll go with Eddie Edwards versus W. Morrissey, despite in that package pertains to the chain muse as Scammerversary, and then the killer sticks involved from the back parking lot and all that. Yeah, that led to a build up between the two. So there you go. Segment of the night. Uh, segment of the night. Well, there wasn't really much of a segment on the show there, so there was no Swingers Palace going on, so no segment of the night, unfortunately. So entrance of the night though, I'm gonna have to go with Matthew Rayro, the drama king ring, entrance. Performance of the night, I'm gonna go with Matthew Rayro. Move of the night, let's see. Move of the night for me on the show. Let's see. Happy something happened between Josh Alexander and Black Taurus. Um, which I can't recall. In fact, let me double check. Okay, I remember now. It wasn't from Black Taurus. It was from Josh Alexander, where it tends to doing the super rolling fireman carries spike. Like Mr. Anderson's, Mr. Kennedy, which one want to say, that move, that he does, that is his finisher. But for that, from the second rope though. But yeah, that was sick though. The move was done. Finish of the night, what to be, once again, Josh Alexander of his C4 spike, which was nicely done, and the way that that Black Taurus sold it too. So there you go. Brutal match of the night would have to be the hardcore match between W. Morrissey and Eddie Edwards, but in a good way, a very good way. Fight Forever of the night, and there was Fight Forever chance going on that night, goes to Josh Alexander and Black Taurus, and like routines to that. Like I agree, Fight Forever, because these guys were killing it. They were like literally killing it. And I shoot you not when I say this too. And not over exaggerating. I say that too. But they were really killing it in this match. Shows to the night, same thing. Josh Alexander and Black Taurus, basically retains to the Exhibition Championship title match between four. So two matches that gets Fight Forever of the night and shows to the night. Match of the night for me. Yeah, I will go with Wade Mack and Diener for that, because it was a good match. So I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with that match. And there you go. And my overall rating for the show, I'm gonna go with a 7.5 out of 10. It could be a better show, the tournament, is what it's where we got me to. But there's other things that I was not fond of. W. Morrissey losing was one of them. So in fact, no, I'll go 8 out of 10 though. 8 out of 10. I'll go for 8 out of 10. Not to just do that, even though I don't like Eddie Edwards' character in the game at all, but but it's whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna go with 8 out of 10 instead. Good show. Either way, good show. And with that being said, folks, I am done. I'm going to end it from here. So thank you for watching. For It's the Natural Born Driller saying peace on the street. This was your Impact Wrestling review, pertains to giving you the results of Impact Homecoming 2021. Take care.